In the alleged apparition at Garabandal, the visionary said, and here's the quote, "The Pope will go to Russia, to Moscow. As soon as he returns to the Vatican, hostilities will break out in different parts of Europe." Now, this is notable because Pope Francis twice in the last year has said that he deeply desires to go to Russia. He's already had several meetings with Vladimir Putin. Pope Francis has said that he would like to travel to Russia, to go to St. Petersburg and to go to Moscow. And he says, quote, "I'm ready to go to Moscow for a dialogue with a brother." And here he's referring to Patriarch Kirill, who is the head, the patriarch of the Russian Orthodox Church. Francis also told reporters on an airplane interview, we know that Francis is famous for those, that visiting Russia and meeting with Kirill was on a, quote, horizon that is not too far away. In 1969, May 10th, the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith issued a declaration supporting the local bishop who said that these were not legitimate. The only thing that makes me interested in this is that Padre Pio himself numerous times spoke positively about Garabandal. Now, there's another prophecy that Conchita made. There's two more that I want to go over. She said, and I quote, and this is the Blessed Virgin Mary speaking, "Many cardinals, bishops, and priests are following the road to perdition, and with them they are taking many more souls. Ever less importance is given to the Holy Eucharist. We should turn the wrath of God away from us by our own efforts. If you ask his forgiveness with a sincere heart, he will pardon you. I, your mother, through the intercession of Saint Michael, the Archangel, wish to tell you that you should make amends. You are now being given the last warnings. I love you very much and do not want your condemnation. Ask us sincerely, and we shall grant your plea. Reflect on the passion of Christ." Now, here is something that is way more startling. She says that it was revealed to her at the death of John the 23rd that there would be 3 more popes, and then that would usher in the end times. If we follow the numbers here, we have Pope Paul VI, who was Pope after John the 23rd, all the way until 1978. Then we had a short pontificate of 33 days. That was John Paul I. And then we had John Paul II, who had a very long reign. And then the pontificate of Pope Benedict XVI. And then, of course, we have Pope Francis. So that's 5 popes right there. So what's going on? Conchita said that John Paul I was not included in that because he has a 33-day pontificate. I'm curious to see what you guys think. So I'm going to jump into the live chat and take a few questions here. So, okay, so here's Chris Lafarge. He's kind of with me on this, although it's not approved. The fact that we got Padre Pio believing in Garabandal, maybe there's something to that. Okay, so Chris, yeah. You know that I always just tell you my heart and my mind. And you know that I think that ever since the 1960s, there's been a bunch of jokers and a bunch of wolves in the Vatican. I believe that they've been lying to us about the Vatican Bank. I believe they've been lying to us about Fatima. They've been lying to us about the Third Secret. They've been lying to us about the Legionaries of Christ and Father Maciel. They've been lying to us about McCarrick. There's a lot of falsities going on, and I don't trust the majority of the staff, the cardinals, and the curia there in Vatican City. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't be in communion with Rome. We have to be in communion with Rome. That's a non-negotiable. But does that mean I trust everything flowing from the Vatican? Absolutely not, especially when it comes to Fatima. So if they lied about Fatima, could they lie about other stuff? I'm open to those conversations. Bishop Williamson believes in Garabandal and says it was condemned because it was during the time of Vatican II. That's very interesting. I need to get in contact with Bishop Williamson. Do you want me to interview him? I've reached out. Maybe we can do that. Gary, Fatima is the message. I agree. Fatima is ground zero when it comes to these things. But again, I would say You can't fully understand the messages of Fatima if you haven't read the four canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you haven't read the book of Revelation, the Apocalypse. If you haven't read the Apocalypse, you're not going to understand what's going on in Fatima. It's drawing on those images. Byzantine Roman, okay, so here's a contrary voice. Byzantine Roman, Garabandal still has glaring problems like unfulfilled prophecy. So I'm interested in hearing that too. I want to hear both sides. All right, here's a good one. Sylvia says, hey, hello, Dr. Marshall. I do believe that Garabandal is true because all what is going on in the world directs to what Conchita has been revealed. I mean, it certainly seems so. If it's the three popes, and then we're going to move into Francis going to Moscow, and then if he comes back from Moscow to the Vatican and war breaks out, I mean, I'm going to be a believer in Garabandal. You better believe it. The John Paul I explanation makes me doubt this immediately. A pope is a pope regardless of how long he held the office. That's fair enough. Here's the thing. She said three popes, Paul VI. Well, she said three popes. And then later, someone said, well, what about 33-day John Paul I? She said, that one didn't count. Garabandal group, is this the Glenn right here that everybody's been talking about in the chat? If it is you, Glenn, I'll bring you on. So Glenn is a close friend of Conchita, so we're going to definitely talk to Glenn here soon because I'm going to just ask all the questions and all the concerns I have, and maybe we can get this figured out.